This is the briefing from Transport Topics for July 16th. I'm Esmeralda Leon. TT Seth Clevenger and Mike Senatori unpack the trends, surprises, and shakeups that define this year's top 100 for-hire carriers. Catch the latest Road Signs podcast at ttn.ws/episode 171. Now let's dive into the day's top stories. In an update to one of our top stories, Daimler Truck North America will temporarily lay off around 2,000 employees at 5 sites as the weak and uncertain freight market continues to take a toll on truck manufacturers. The affected DTNA facilities are located in Mount Holly and Gastonia, North Carolina, Portland, Oregon, Saltillo, Mexico, and Detroit. A spokesman confirmed the layoffs in a statement released to Transport Topics on Monday. Each affected site will experience different impacts based on local business needs. DTNA said, quote, "We remain optimistic that market conditions will improve, enabling us to reassess operational needs and potentially reinstate affected roles." End quote. The Portland and Mount Holly layoffs will take place this Friday, while Gastonia employees will be laid off on July 25th and Detroit plant staff on September 18th. It is unknown how many employees will be affected at each facility, but the Charlotte Observer previously reported the number to be 573 combined between Mount Holly and Gastonia. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration is temporarily allowing commercial driver license holders to use paper medical examiner certificate copies, since 12 states failed to meet a June mandate for electronic records. An FMCSA requirement that replaces paper copies of medical examiners' certifications with a secure electronic transmission system under the National Registry 2 implementation was supposed to start nationwide June 23rd. However, the following states are still using a paper process because they lack the modern system: Alaska, California, Florida, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Oklahoma, Vermont, and Wyoming. Inflation rose in June to its highest level since February as President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs are pushing up the cost of a range of goods, including furniture, clothing, and large appliances. Consumer prices rose 2.7% from a year earlier, up from an annual increase of 2.4% in May. On a monthly basis, prices climbed 0.3% from May to June, after rising just 0.1% the previous month. Worsening inflation poses a political challenge for President Donald Trump, who promised during last year's presidential campaign to immediately lower costs. Sharp inflation soured most Americans on former President Joe Biden's handling of the economy. Higher inflation will also likely make the Federal Reserve more reluctant to cut its short-term interest rate, as Trump is loudly demanding. That's it for today. Remember, for all the latest trucking and transportation news, go to the experts at ttnews.com.
Spoken Layer.